So up to this point in our tutorial, this point we're able to create this kind of scatter plot with this of the, let's say, the heat bar line by the side. This scatter plot, we are going to look more in depth on it when we start our machine learning by making use of that of scaling and for that of supervised and unsupervised. So we are going to look more into all this of the scatter plot a little bit, but let's dive into something a little bit different. Let's say in a situation whereby you are interested in creating that of the bar plot. You know that bar plot, since if you don't know what is actually bar plot, more like a rectangular type, or just more like this type, or this heat guy, I can say this color bar stuff. It's more like a standing stick, or you can make it to be in vertical and that of the horizontal. But let's just see example so we can I will get the feeling of what we are trying to actually be. So let me get rid of this. To actually create that of the bar plot is basically simple. Let's just comment this out. Let me move down a little bit. So let me just let me just create a new variable. I can call it x. So I can set to give it maybe 1 2 3 4 5 6. So what are we going to do? So we are going to say plt dot what bar, simple as that. And then what do we want to actually, okay, let's say this to y, because we want automatically for the x to be set to that of the default, because if you don't set the value of x, it's going to take that of the default value. So we can just put that of the y. When we put that of the y, remember that it does signify that I want to plot that of the bar plot by making use of this of the y value. Then we are going to actually set that of the x, so we can see how the both of them differs. Let's actually run this and see our output. Is we get this bar missing one position, missing required position argument. This is basically because we didn't set the data or the value of x. But to make things a little bit better, let's just set the value of, let me just copy this y, put it here. So this is going to be more like a linear type of graph. Let's actually set this value of x, and let's actually see this signify that the down, but know that x is signified that of the base, and that of the base one is one is one x is 1, and then y is 1. So it's going to be like when x is 6, this is what I mean, when initially x was 1 and y was 1, so x is now 2, y is 2. So it's going to keep on climbing up like this. Let's say in a situation whereby x is 6 and then we will set to y to be 3, so we expect this guy to come down here. Let's just actually see when x is 6 and then we set our y to be 3. So let's actually run this. So we're actually looking at now x is now 6 and then y is 3, because that's what we actually set here. So let's say we can actually try to give these bars actually a color. You can start to beautify the values of this of the x's. Maybe you can start to give it maybe something like apple, orange, gray, anything you feel like. But most of the time it's actually a good idea when you give it a particular name. So in case you feel like giving it a name of your choice, it's not hard. Just come here and put the change this to maybe a string or the value that I want to actually make use of it. You can also try to give this bar, like I said, you can start to give it color. So let me actually give it a color, maybe blue. Okay, let's say green. Let's say I give it a green. Can I decide to give it the width? Let's say I want to give it the width of maybe 2, and I can start to give you that of the height. Maybe you can set the height to somewhere around 3. So let's actually see how these guys take effect. So remember that the new parameter that was set was this of the color. So it's going to be set to green. We have the width to be 2, and then the height to be 3. Remember that I can actually play around with all these parameters to see how it actually affects how your bar plot is actually being plotted out. The bar x and y, bar got multiple value for the height for arguments. The reason that we got this type of is because when you want to make use of the height parameter, you need to, this has to be a horizontal bar that you need to actually make use of. So let's actually look at this of the width and width, and then for you to make use of the height, like I said, you need to actually print a horizontal bar. But let's actually see how the width changes, and then we can then go on to print to see how the height is going to be rendered. But for that, we need to actually change this of our bar to that of the horizontal. I can see the width, we change the width. You know that we know what the width is, just like the base. We are going to extend the size of the base, but it doesn't affect that of the height. So with this, The next thing we are going to do, since we want to do for that of the heights, we can say that of the height. And when we say that of the height, we are going to change this to that of the bar h, which is signify that of the horizontal bar. So let's actually run this to so as we can see here, see that this is a horizontal bar. This is actually that of the x and the y. But when we look at it, the x stop at 6, and then this was actually this is actually looking a little bit confusing to an extent. But this is actually what we expected. But this is more of the horizontal way, because that's only one way we can make use of this of the height. But on actual sense, it doesn't really matter as far as you understand the bar that you are trying to plot. Most of the time we make use of that of the vertical bar, so it tends to display the information a little bit better rather than this horizontal bar. This can be really useful in case if you want to, in a session, want to present your data and with making use of graphs, and maybe it makes your data look more professional and make it look more better. So that is one advantage of using this bar plot and this of the matplotlib tutorial that we are doing. So if you feel interested in, maybe there's a really need case for you to do, it's actually a good idea to make use of it. So remember that most of the time, the normal, if you want to make use of that of the horizontal bar, make sure to put the h at the end. In case you want to make use of the vertical, just leave it as the normal bar. You can start to change the color, that of the height and the width, but the default values are, I think they are okay, they are good to go, so you can definitely leave it like this. Let's actually run it again. So as we can see that we got exactly what the default values are. Okay, so this is more explainable on what you actually want to present. So the more the data you have, the more the values are going to be converted. So it's not going to be as big as you expect. Like let's say you have more values on this of the y and x axis, the values are going to be converted. So most of the times this guy is good to go. The vertical bar is good to go. It's more explainable rather than that of the horizontal bar. That's why most of the time horizontal bars are not being used really more. So I think this concludes it for this of the bar chart. Remember that we're still going to come in contact with all these. So I just want to have I just want us to have a glimpse of what were some of the graphs that we are going to plot when we start our machine learning tutorial and make use of that of the scaling. So I'll be able to see in the next video we'll be trying to print that of the histogram, you can say graph. So make sure to subscribe and like. I'll be able to see in the next video. Thank you for watching.